Hello friends, today we'll be disassembling my Eufy RoboVac charging base. Start with a quick overview. Here's the wall adapter. It outputs 19 volts 0.6 amps. Has a DC barrel jack on this end which plugs into the bottom of the charging base right here. And then there's this area in the back for you to tuck the excess cable to have a cleaner install, and there's this notch right here for the cable to pass through. There are the two spring-loaded contacts that deliver power to the robot. There's this indicator light that indicates the charging base has power, and this part of the base is made of IR transparent plastic. IR lights help the robot navigate to the base. There's this piece of hook and loop tape, also called Velcro, that I added to help keep the charging base in place that we're going to remove now. I used hook and loop tape to allow it to be removed so that I could clean under it from time to time. The base itself also includes this little bit of double-sided tape. What's interesting about the double-sided tape right here is that it's at the front of the base station, because Eufy knows you'll pick it up like this, so you get maximum leverage to help you remove that double-sided tape. We're now going to peel the sticker off, as I know that at least two of the screws holding this together are underneath it. For reference, here where the 4 screws we are going to remove are located. We're now going to remove these 2 gray strips that act as feet for the base station, as there is a screw hidden under each one. With all 4 screws removed, the bottom just pulls off. There are 2 slots on either side where you can insert something like a flathead screwdriver to help you pry the bottom off if needed. What surprised me right off the bat is that these contacts have no springs underneath them, so they're just a flat piece of metal that's been bent upward and is held in place when the bottom piece of plastic is screwed on. So you can see the springiness is purely caused by a bend in the contact's metal strip. Using a Phillips head screwdriver with a narrow shaft, we're now going to remove 2 screws, one on either side, to detach the upper portion of the base station. So you can see here these 2 screws are identical. see there's a cable that's holding the upper half to the base station. This is for the indicator LED on the top of the housing. This just pulls out. Looking at the screw, we can see it has a larger head. This is to hold the LED indicator light down. Now the light itself can just be pulled out right here. And you can see that one of the light leads is covered in heat shrink tubing. This is likely so that the screw doesn't short the two leads out. These two wires right here are for the DC barrel jack on the bottom where power comes in. These other two wires are for the contacts for the robot's charging. The base station has 5 infrared LED transmitters. 2 are in the center here, 1 on each side working diagonally, and there's one on the top of the board that points upward towards this 360-degree cone-shaped mirror, which I'll show you in a second. This one Phillips head screw also has a wide head to it. With the screw removed, the mirror just falls out. Here's a closer look at what that mirror looks like. At the top, you can see the screw hole is kind of key-shaped, and there's also this locating tab. These are to help with assembly, so that key-shaped screw hole lines up with the key-shaped hole here, so that it does not spin while it's being screwed in. That external locating tab needs to be facing outward toward the robot for the mirror to fit in the hole. This is likely so that the robot or whatever holds this in the assembly line gets the alignment right the first time and doesn't need to rotate the mirror until it reaches the correct alignment. Here's a closer look at those 4 forward-facing IR LEDs. The black plastic is just to guide the light so that the robot can differentiate between the lights. Now we're going to remove these 2 Phillips head screws so we can get a good look at the 5th infrared LED. With those 2 Phillips head screws removed, we get a look at this bit of plastic that's holding that cone-shaped mirror. Here we can get a good look at that 5th infrared LED. It's facing the camera right now in the center of that black plastic housing. There are 3 Phillips head screws holding down the circuit board, one on the top left, and the other 2 are shared use screws. They also hold down the black plastic that guides the diagonal lights. here's what that piece of plastic looks like. It's nothing special. It's just black, so it's opaque to IR light. And here's what that infrared LED looks like. What's sort of interesting is that it's a perfect cylinder. Normally they have like a rounded or dome-shaped head. Here's a quick look at the back of the circuit board. We can see a bunch of identical looking circuits designed to drive those infrared LED lights. The white strips you can see me pointing out here are where the LEDs are. Anyone curious, I will use a multimeter to measure what the voltage of the contacts that the robot uses for charging are. You can see here it is right around 18.8, 18.6 volts, which is I think a straight pass-through of the wall adapter's power. Here's a sped up video of me reassembling the base station. First, we're going to screw down that cone-shaped mirror holder. And we're going to put the top back on. We're going to screw that down with 2 Phillips head screws. And we're going to put our robot charging contacts back into place. We're going to push that bottom plate back on, and we're going to put the 4 Phillips head screws that hold that on back in. And then we're going to stick the gray feet back on. The base station is fully reassembled. In low light, my phone can pick up the IR LEDs. So that's the left one. The center ones are fairly hard to see. Rotating the base station a bit more. We can see the right one. And then trying for center again. There we can see the center one. You can see center right. And if I rotate a little bit, center left, center right. Center left as I rotate the base station. It's because of that black plastic divider we saw earlier separating the LEDs. Thank you for watching. Please leave any questions, comments, or concerns down below.